Hey everybody, Shaman Hawk here for Shamanic Lodge. So there's been a huge influx of women coming towards shamanism over the last couple months, and especially in the last couple weeks. Um, I'll start off with the truth. The truth is that women can become much better shamans than men are because of all the things that make them mothers and nurturers, good community leaders. They're so empathic, they're naturally intuitive. They can think in a sphere, and that's the best thing for a community leader instead of linear thinking like a man. The linear thinking of a man is great for warfare, building, agriculture, simple things like that. However, these great characteristics of femininity can also be the woman's greatest enemies when it comes into entering the shamanic fields, mainly because when they start making that alignment, they become excellent sweet targets for anything you want to call negative energies or dark forces. Why? Because just in the same skill set that they can take a one cell from a man and create an entire human being, they can take an energy signature and create a completely new reality. Now imagine if you have a continent of females, or even just a region or a hemisphere that are doing that willingly or otherwise. You can completely change everything. So, and then people say, well, why didn't the light side, the white side, or guiders, people of the light, consciousness of the light, come in and do something about it? If I was to look at this militaristically, and you had people that you wanted to enlist for a force to fight off evil, you basically want a volunteer military. You don't want to just bring people in by force. So you want, and then at the same time, you only want the best in there. When I went into the Marine Corps, the group that I went in to, that original platoon, was 92 people, and we only graduated 16 of the originals. They don't want everybody. They just want the people who want to be the best. If I was to describe the shamanic journey as healers, you have on one end of the spectrum, you have the people who are buy the crystal, hug a tree, burn some candles, that's great for the new age crowd. Or you have that other spectrum of the healer, that's the combat medic. These are the people that go out into the battlefield virtually defenseless, doing what needs to be done the way it needs to be done with minimum resources and usually running out of time very, very quickly. That's the shamanic mentality. Very, very few women are good at combat medics. And the ones I know run a militaristic household. Their children are very disciplined, and there's order. They like order because they know order allows for opportunities to be nurtured and taken the best advantage of. It's the best way to govern and utilize your resources, but other than that, in the shamanic field, I tell my apprentices 0.1% of the people who come towards shamanism will stay in it. That's 1 in 1,000. It's probably 1 in 100,000 that actually get interested to come towards shamanism. Because it's that, not because of the methodology cruel or abusive, it's just because it's severely confrontive. I talked to somebody today, that's going to enter into a shamanic apprenticeship under a shaman that I took through apprenticeship, and told him the same things. The first 2 years of the first 4 years is all about renovation, the demolition part of renovation, to get rid of all your programming and really take a deep look at yourself. Very, very confrontive. Men are really good at this because they can just put their emotions aside and look at what needs to be done and do that. However, later in there, when they're really trying to understand what's going on with people, if you have, most of our clients are female, so you have to be able to empathize with that. Well, that comes from training with women, and I was lucky to have some really powerful women as part of my teachers. But still, I always think of things as a man, so most of these women that I work with, I had to direct them over to a woman that I trust in a female shaman, that to take it through them the way a woman needs to be taken through. What I'm seeing now when more women come, especially when there's lots of signs. I mean, sometimes the signs will surround a woman. It's like there's no doubt that this woman is meant for the shamanic path. There's just there's just too many synchronicities that you just can't ignore, and it's normal for somebody that's potentially in a good alignment to have a lot of signs that say, "Hey, pay attention to this person because this person probably has a lot of things to do in the future, and you need to really work on their foundation and maybe direct them to somebody else to finish teaching." But sometimes these signs are just so intense and so frequent. It's way beyond the we can't ignore this part. It gets into this is just totally unreal. It's just, I cannot believe it's happening this much, this intense. And I've had a few of those lately. Because these women were so intense in their empathic abilities, psychic abilities, their intuition, and within the other energies that they would utilize on the shamanic path, yeah, they became these really super sweet targets for those darker energies who really throw all these things at them in so many different directions that it was going to be really hard for them to stay on a path and really shift their realities where they're just not hearing things right, you know. And uh, talking to somebody recently and talking to her about some things, and it's just, no, I didn't say that exactly. You know, and some things you misplace some words and it changes the whole context of a sentence. So in these cases, unfortunately, you have to communicate back with the flow. Like, well, this is great. I really appreciate the opportunity to work with this person. However, these are the things that, I need help in dealing with because I'm not getting through. And sometimes the flow can kind of give me visions or things to do and say or whatever, a situation like that. And other times not. And because of the global situations escalating so quickly, I'll just get somebody else to work with. Because times like this haven't ever been seen before, as far as I know, in recorded history, and they just seem to be getting worse. And the people who are orchestrating all this somehow think that they're not going to be affected by it, or they got the perfect solution for the perfect storm. But I think that we are um, in such a dangerous place right now. I can see how nature and the shamanic flow really want a lot of people to be awakened quickly in a really good way and a good foundation with good foundational training. And plus, and especially in my lineage, we really want to get people to be unique in their way. But we need that first, that really, you can build that unique house when you're doing that renovation job, but all jobs like that eventually make a lot of mess because you have to do a lot of demolition to get that clear slate to work with. And if you can't do that, then it's kind of a lost cause. If the person that you're working with wants to go through the renovation and demolition part their way, it won't work. It's just a certain way. And this is something construction guys deal with clients all the time. Like, there's a way to do things in every discipline. And if the person's not ready to do that or doesn't want to do it or doesn't hear what you're saying, then you may as well just leave the project, until they're either ready to do it that way or not. And that's where it's really difficult for women, because of the emotional part that's stuck in there. And they take a lot of things personally, or like, this is what I heard you say, or something. No, where men are just like, okay, and it's an immediate shift. So this is a good thing and a bad thing in some ways, because it's like more and more men are getting into this and they're doing really well. But it'd be nice if more women got into this because they could do even better. And I've learned a lot from my female apprentices, and just watching them do things or watching the way they take exercises and adapt it their way after they've done their foundational training. It's awesome. And I've adapted a lot of that methodology of myself from people that I train to become I mean, I'm open, I'm trainable. I always want to improve. No matter, I could be doing something for 20 years and I see somebody else doing it better. And if I try it and I get more proficient at it, I'm adapting that. you know, because I'm doing that service to my people like that. So women, if you're feeling that urge to get towards shamanism, if you're feeling you're having all these things, dreams come true, you're having all these signs, you know, you're not unique like that. It's happening to a lot of you. When I say we, I and my network can help you get onto a track that's really works well for you, to help you become that unique shaman. Or if you don't want to go through a full apprenticeship, shamanic practitioner, that's fine. Shamanic healer, yep, we need more of those too. It's just to show you the need for it, because I tell my apprentices, and then the second apprentices of the people I made shaman, if you want to do this for a living, there's too much work. You'll do this for the rest of your life. Easy. Don't expect to get rich off of it. That won't happen. But is a good example. One woman I worked with for a while in Germany, we were in the Dusseldorf Tower, and she said, look out the window. Every third window of those apartments is a clinical depression case. And I know for a fact that, so that's 33% of the population. So I know for a fact too that most industrialized countries have a suicide rate of 11 to 15% of their population. You know, that's just phenomenal. I mean, it's pandemic that so many humans want to destroy themselves and end their lives. Okay, so that's a lot of the work that you'll be doing, helping people like themselves, accept themselves, and do that. So if you're feeling that way, I have a couple females that are accomplished shamans themselves. One of them is Shamanic Woman, if you find her on Instagram. Her name's Orshi. The other one is Elisa Glesvaye on Instagram, known as Healers of Earth. Great women, served full apprenticeships, real shamans that went through it. They went through the demolition of this soul and to rebuild to become who they are, and they're just flourishing. They've escaped the hamster wheel of the workaday world. I don't think Orshi's had like the real job for about 6 years, and Elisa is probably going on her second year, I think. You know, so if you want to escape that hamster wheel and do this kind of work full time, it's very, very possible. You just have to go through the training the way it's designed to be accomplished. If you guys have any questions like that, please make comments on the videos, subscribe, get notifications and all that. You can contact me if you want a personal appointment at shamaniclodge@gmail.com. That's about it. You know, if you don't want me to answer the comments or your questions on a video, you know, that's fine. I mean, I never give out people's names or anything, but sometimes these comments or questions are really valuable material for me to make videos with, and they serve as teaching implements like that. All right, people, catch you guys later. Oh, I became a grandpa again last night to grandchild number 6 at this house. Now we have 3 boys, 3 girls. Life is prolific on the farm. Catch you guys later.